There's something happening right now that nobody is talking about clearly. Not that AI is taking your job. That's the conversation everyone is having. The conversation nobody is having is this: what is AI doing to your brain while you still have your job? Because the research that has come out in the last 12 months points to something much stranger and more unsettling than job loss. It points to a kind of quiet erosion, a slow trade. You hand your tasks to the machine and the machine hands something back, something you didn't agree to give. This video is about what that something is, and the science behind it is going to change how you think about the tools you're using every day. Let's start with the experiment that started this whole conversation. In 2025, researchers at MIT's Media Lab ran a study that nobody in the mainstream press covered correctly. They took 54 participants, connected them to EEG devices that measure electrical activity across the brain, and divided them into 3 groups. One group wrote essays entirely on their own. One group used search engines, and one group used ChatGPT. What the EEG showed was stark. The people writing alone showed the strongest, most distributed neural networks. Search engine users showed moderate engagement, and the ChatGPT users showed the weakest brain connectivity of the 3 groups, measurably less neural activity during the exact same cognitive task. But here's the part that should stop you cold. In a 4th session, the ChatGPT users were switched to writing alone without any tools, and their performance had dropped compared to people who had never used AI in the first place. The researchers had a name for this. They called it cognitive debt. The brain didn't rest while the AI was doing the work. It atrophied. And the most disturbing finding of all, when asked to quote from the essays they had just written, the AI-assisted group had the hardest time doing it. They couldn't remember their own work. They had outsourced not just the writing, they had outsourced the authorship. Now you might think this is a slow process, something that builds up over years of heavy use. It isn't. A separate study published in April 2026 using large-scale randomized controlled trials found that just 10 to 15 minutes of AI interaction can produce measurable impairments in independent performance and persistence. Not months, not weeks, 15 minutes. The mechanism they identified is something that cognitive scientists call hedonic adaptation, but applied to mental effort. When AI routinely completes tasks in seconds, your brain recalibrates what effort is supposed to feel like. Working without AI starts to feel harder than it actually is. Not because you've gotten weaker, but because your reference point has shifted. And here's what makes this a trap rather than just a side effect. Every time you offload a task to AI, you shift the reference point again, which makes the next offload more attractive, which shifts the reference point further. The mechanism is self-reinforcing. You don't notice it happening because at every step, you feel like you're making a rational decision. The medical world is where this gets the most concrete because doctors have data. A multicenter randomized trial published in 2025 followed endoscopists who had been using AI assistants to detect adenomas, precancerous polyps during colonoscopies. While using AI, their detection rate was 25.3%. Before they started using AI, it was 28.4%. And when researchers removed the AI and asked them to work unassisted, after months of routine AI use, their rate had fallen to 22.4%. Read that again. The doctors got better with AI than without it, but they got worse without AI than they had been before AI. The tool had restructured their skill without them noticing. In breast imaging, a controlled study of 27 radiologists showed that when the AI gave incorrect prompts, the radiologists followed them, increasing false positives by up to 12%, even among experienced readers. The AI didn't just assist judgment, it replaced judgment. And when the AI was wrong, the doctor was wrong with it. One radiologist in the study put it in a way that stuck. We're in danger of becoming glorified button pushers. Now let's talk about something that has a name but hasn't made it into the mainstream conversation yet. Boston Consulting Group surveyed 1,588 full-time workers across industries in early 2026 and found a pattern they eventually called AI brain fry. They defined it as mental fatigue that results from excessive use or oversight of AI tools beyond one's cognitive capacity. 14% of workers in the survey said they had experienced it, and the symptoms were surprisingly consistent across respondents. Mental fog, headaches, a buzzing sensation that persisted after they stopped working, slower decision-making, the feeling of having too many browser tabs open inside their own head. But here's the finding that nobody is talking about. AI brain fry is not burnout. This is important. Burnout is a chronic condition driven by emotional and physical exhaustion. It builds over months and shows up in well-established psychological markers. AI brain fry is something different. It targets attention, working memory, and executive control. It is acute cognitive overload, not chronic emotional exhaustion. Which means that if your company is measuring employee well-being through burnout indicators, which most companies are, they will completely miss it. Workers can be burning out cognitively while scoring fine on every standard burnout assessment. The signal is invisible to the instruments being used to detect it. The business consequences are not abstract. Workers with brain fry made major errors 39% more often than workers without it, and they were 39% more likely to be actively looking for a different job. Here's something counterintuitive that the BCG study found. The number of AI tools a worker uses does not linearly increase the problem. Using one AI tool improved productivity, 2 showed gains, 3 still showed gains, but at 4 tools or more, productivity plummeted. Not because of the tools themselves, but because of the oversight. When AI generates output that looks finished, humans are asked to verify it. Reading through AI-generated text to check whether it's accurate turns out to be one of the most cognitively draining tasks the human brain can perform, because the output arrives looking done. It doesn't look like raw material. It doesn't signal where to look for errors. It demands the kind of sustained, expert, hyper-vigilant attention that human cognition was not designed to maintain. There's a researcher named Lisanne Bainbridge who studied what happens when humans are asked to monitor automated systems. Her work was originally about nuclear reactor operators. Her conclusion was that asking humans to oversee automation is very nearly an impossible task. Vigilance decays. The system's internal logic is opaque, and the human is held responsible for failures the machine cannot flag. BCG's 2026 findings confirm that this exact same impossibility now applies to the marketing director reviewing AI copy and the engineer checking AI-generated code. The work looks like oversight. What it actually requires is a form of attention that no one can sustain. Let's go deeper, because the neuroscience here is not just about fatigue. Cognitive load research distinguishes between 2 types of mental effort. There is the kind that exhausts you without building anything. Repetitive, shallow processing that uses mental resources and leaves nothing behind. And then there is what researchers call germinal cognitive load, the effortful, difficult processing that actually builds the mental schemas that make you better at what you do. The insight is this: you cannot build expertise by watching someone else do the hard part. The struggle is not a side effect of learning. The struggle is the mechanism of learning. When you outsource the hard part to AI, you skip the germinal load. The task gets done. You didn't get better. And over time, without the repetition of genuine difficulty, the schemas you built in the past start to degrade. Not dramatically, not overnight, but measurably. The doctors losing adenoma detection rates are a clinical example of exactly this process. And there's something happening at the level of reward that almost nobody is discussing. When you solve a hard problem, your brain releases dopamine. Not as a bonus, as part of the architecture of motivation. That dopamine signal is what tells your brain this activity matters. It is what drives you to come back and do it again. It is what makes expertise feel meaningful rather than just mechanical. AI short-circuits this loop. The answer arrives. You didn't earn it. The dopamine doesn't fire in the same way. The insight that came without struggle doesn't reinforce itself in memory the same way. The brain learned through millions of years of evolution to value what it had to work for. And AI is systematically removing the work without telling the brain that the reward has been reassigned. The result is not just skill erosion, it is motivational erosion. People who rely heavily on AI report not just struggling more without it, they report caring less about the work itself. So where does this leave us? The honest answer is that the research is new, the effects are real, and the long-term picture is not yet clear. Some researchers argue the brain will adapt, that humans have always integrated new cognitive tools and found new equilibria. The calculator didn't destroy mathematical intuition. GPS didn't eliminate spatial reasoning entirely. Others argue that AI is categorically different, that no previous tool replaced the cognitive work itself, only assisted with it, and that the combination of speed, fluency, and apparent completeness in AI output creates conditions for cognitive delegation that have no historical precedent. What the data does tell us clearly is this: the tasks you struggle through without assistance are the tasks that are building something in your brain. The tasks you hand off effortlessly are the tasks you may be slowly losing. That is not an argument against using AI. It is an argument for knowing what you are trading when you do, because the tool is not neutral, and neither is what it's doing to the person using it. If this made you think about something specific, such as a tool you use, a skill you've noticed fading, a feeling you've had but couldn't name, drop it in the comments. The pattern shows up differently for different people and in different fields, and those specific cases matter. And if this kind of research is what you're here for, the next video goes into the jobs where this effect is most severe. and the ones where counterintuitively it isn't happening at all.